Hello, friends. I am Neeraj. Welcome to the new episode of JWT project. So this is the structure. So we had created in last session. So we had created the login route, register route. So they are not complete actually, but we had structured it. So in this session, so let's work on this register functionality so that user can provide his email ID and the password, and we can save the user data in our database. So let's do that, and we can also check with the using Thunder client, so whether our APIs are working fine or not. So we can initiate a post request. So this is very simply returning this message and nothing special. So we will work on it so that we will get some meaningful stuff. So let's first of all, so we will create a struct so that we can bind the JSON form data into that struct. So let's do that. So we will start with the type, and let's say we will call it form data struct, and we will need a few fields. So we will need email, that would be a string, and in the we will also need to provide the JSON binding. So in JSON it would be it would be represented as email, and second would be our password. This is also going to be a string, and in JSON we will it would be represented as password, so that whenever we are simply going to use the binding, I mean that is provided with the gin itself. So we will create a variable var form data, and that would be that would be a type of form data, and now we will bind it. So if error, and we are going to use the gin context. So c dot should bind. So Gen, just like Fiber, Gen also does all the heavy lifting for us. So we don't need to do it manually, and we will provide the variable form data. So this way, so if it may return some error, so that is what we are collecting in the variable error. And now we will check. Error is not nil. Then we will log a message dot print ln error in JSON binding. So this way, so our this part is complete, and I am also putting a comment here. Collect form data, and now so we have the data, and now we can first we will try to save this data. So, but the thing is that in our model, so we have to pass on this data, this form data, with into our model, and then we would be able to save that data. So we will also create a new variable, and we will call it user. That would be a model dot user, and we can very simply now say, so user dot email equals form data dot email, and for the time being, so I am going to set the password also with the form data dot password. So this way, so we have, I am also putting a comment here, add form data to model. Okay. And now, so we have the data in our model, in our model list, and now we can very simply save it. So here we can say database dot. We can also collect this dbcon variable in a local instance for the sake of simplicity. And if we need to do, I mean, that way also we can do, but I'm going this way, dbcon. And we have a method called create. And here we have to provide an, an instance of the variable user as a reference. So this way, and it also returns the result. So we will collect it in the variable result. And now we can check if result dot error is not equal to nil, then we will log a error message. So we will say println, and we can say very simply result dot error. Okay. So this way, so here what we are doing is that we have collected, we have created a instance of our user model, and we have assigned the values to our model fields, and we are trying to save it. Very simply, we are not doing anything much. So this way, so everything looks fine, and now it's time to run it and test it. So we will save it, and I am starting our. So this is running. So I am using air. So we can check here. So we cause we have to pass some data, so we need to provide the form body. So we will create a JSON object, and it would be the first field would be email, and let's say I am passing a random one. So test@test.com, and the password. So we will also need to provide the password. So password would be, let's say, test. And now we will try to run it. So we are sending a request. So we didn't got any error in our log, and we can also check in our database as well. So this is our DB tables. So we can check in the users table. So we have got the first one. So basically, so a blank record got inserted, but we are more concerned about this one because this is the right one. So we have got this. Our email ID is also saved, and the password is also saved. But remember, things to remember here that our password is a very plain password, so it is not ideal to save like this. So we will need to hash it. And for the hashing of the password, so I am going to use Golang provides a very handy package, that is the bcrypt. So we will use this bcrypt to hash our password. So that's it. Also very simple. So we will first create a function here. Func hash password. It is going to take a string. So a password, that would be a string, and it will return a. It is also going to return a hashed password as a string. So like this, and here we will say hash and error, and bcrypt. So see, I am using air, so that is why. So if any dependency is mostly, it would be satisfied automatically. So bcrypt generate password, And here we have to provide this string uh, as a slice of byte. So we will pass on password. So it would be a slice of bytes, and we also need to provide the cost. So I'm going with the default one. So here we can check. You can check the documentation as well. So these are the costs. So mean cost, max cost, default is 10, and out of this 4 to 31, so we can choose any number. So that is like this. So I'm going with the default cost, and here I'm going to check if error is not nil. That means that there is some error occurred during the hashing of the password, and we will very simply say raise a panic and error in hashing, right? And if everything goes well, so we will very simply return the hashed password. But this is basically a byte, and we need to return it as a string. So we will say string. So we will cast this byte to a string. And right now, so it looks okay. And we will delete it. First, let us also check what happens if we try to create a new user with the same email ID. So we are getting this error that the duplicate entry for this email ID. So cause we have marked it as a unique one. So let us delete it here. So we will delete it, and we will also delete this empty one. We can add the validation as well. So don't worry. So right now, if we try to initiate this request, so here we will refresh it. So, okay, one thing. So although we had created this function, but we never used it. So here we will come and we will say hash password, and very simply like this. So once again, so I'm going to delete it. And now if we try to initiate this request, so there is no error. So let us also check what happens in our database side. So here we have successfully saved the email and the hashed password. And you might notice that the timestamp, so we didn't provide explicitly. So we had defined that using while declaring our model itself. Okay. So this way, so looks okay. And now we can successfully we can return this success messages as well. So we will say here return object, and the key would be message. So we will say user added successfully, and we can also return some meaningful stuff here. So if because if the for any duplicate record, duplicate email IDs, so we are raising errors. So also it's better to return it meaningful. So we will say 400, and the message would be user, let's say, already accessed. Okay, and so by default, so that something like this, and we can also do the same thing if there is any error while JSON binding, or there is no point doing going further. So error occurs. or something went wrong. So something like that. And now if we try to initiate this request again, so here we are getting this JSON response as 400, and the message is user already exists. It is a typo actually, so just ignore it. And okay, so we also need to return here, because if anything happens, so c.json and we will return. And if for any successful one, so the last one would be automatically returned. So this is redundant actually. So let's get right of that. And now if we try to initiate it, so we will get only one single response. So let us also try to fix this typo. And so user already exists. And if we try to change the email ID, so let's say test1, and if we try to send it, so we are getting it successfully. So message is user added successfully. So it's 2000. Better we can also return 201, because usually for any new creation, new record addition, so we should use the 201 over 200. Okay. So once again, testing again, and we can change it the email ID as well. So okay, fine. So 200 201. So we are getting the response code. So this way, so and one more thing we can do, that this password, so we will need to use in the login as well, but in the login, so that would be, we need to use in a different way. So we can move this function from the controller to with a help inside a helper. So let's also do that. So that is basically a little refactoring. So in the helpers, remember we had created a helper directory. So we will create a new file here, and we will say auth.go. So it would be package helper. And very simply, we are simply going to, so why it didn't got auto imported? Okay, fine. So now it got auto imported, and we can get rid of this. And obviously, so here also we will need to use this from this helper. So we will say helper dot hash password. Why didn't got auto imported? This is package helper hash password. There is any spelling errors or what? Okay, fine. So now it is okay. So yes, got auto imported, and let's try to do this again. So with a new record, with a new user. So let's say test4, and so yes, this is working fine. So perfectly fine. So we can also cross check here as well. So our users are getting registered, and we have successfully saved their records. So this is that's all for this session. So we have created this completed our register route, and we have also created a helper. And if you have anything to say, so please do let me know in the comment section. And that's all for this session. So I'll see you in some other session. So till then, take care and happy coding.